Nipissing River Bridge project gets underway. The CLE dispute could end up in court. And the Flash is headed to Thunder Bay. Good evening and thank you for joining us. Well, it will be the first of its kind in the province, and despite the rain this morning, construction is now underway on the new Nipissing Bridge.
The first pile was driven today, and with it comes many new jobs and economic opportunities for the Nipissing area. Nate Jones has more on the $106 million project.
The first of many piles were driven into the ground by Minister Michael Gravel as others looked on in anticipation. It's taken a lot of lobbying, planning, and persistence, but a new 4-lane cable-stayed bridge will eventually stand in place of the old. The project is part of the ongoing 4-laning of Highway 1117, and Gravel believes the new bridge will be a tourist attraction in itself.
I believe the Nipissing River Bridge is going to be the crown jewel of that project. I mean, it's a $106 million project. Very, very complicated, but we have the most skilled people putting it together.
Those skilled people include international company Ferrovial Agroman and Ontario company Bott Construction. Ferrovial has built many of these cable-stayed bridges in regions across the world, and the location is right for the project. The bridge's design will help protect fish habitats and will have a lifespan of about 75 years.
There's no contractor in Ontario who's ever built a cable-stayed bridge, so I think the combination is pretty unique with their expertise. What Bott Construction brings is local experience, local knowledge of the MTO, the specifications.
The project will take 4 years to complete, with work stretching through the winter months. 3 giant towers will support many blue-lit cables which will stem to the bridge deck. Large walkways and bike lanes will give space for tourists and locals to cross. Nipissing Mayor Richard Harvey says provincial dollars in the bridge mean more money in the township's pocket for other projects.
So we've been able to move up some of those projects to have them coincide with this work so that we can have that work done at the same time, which is going to bring substantial savings to the community, to the taxpayers of the area, with that in mind.
The province says the Nipissing Bridge project will sustain more than 1,000 jobs and will improve the transportation of goods across the Northwest. Nate Jones, TBT News.
The fallout continues at the Canadian Lakehead exhibition in the wake of the removal of one of the directors on the board. Longtime volunteer Linda Gamby was ousted on Wednesday night following a 2/3 majority vote by the CLE membership. Gamby says the dispute was due to her concerns about some board members drinking from the organization's free bar and then driving home while intoxicated. Gamby also announced today that she's resigning her post with the Christmas Cheer campaign. She's been the chair of that effort for nearly 6 years, overseeing the handout of thousands of hampers for the less fortunate every Christmas season.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to step down as president. It's as chairperson. It's a really hard decision to make. It's an organization that I believe in fully, but because this particular charity works very closely with the CLE, and the chairperson in particular works closely with the staff and the board members, it's a real tenable situation right now, which I think will do more harm to the organization than good.
CLE officials say they remain committed to the Christmas Cheer campaign and it will continue. Yesterday, board members released a statement saying Gamby was removed due to a conflict of interest because she had threatened to sue the board. Gamby says, in light of all that's been happening, a lawsuit is still a possibility.
Well, I actually haven't made a decision. Of course, the legal opportunity is there for me to take. I'm sort of looking at different options. I have never said that I would sue anyone at this point. It doesn't mean that it might be a possibility, but I may not do it either. So I'm just looking at all the options, talking to different people, and I will go from there.
The CLE board held a closed-door meeting today to discuss the recent developments, but the board is not making any other comment on the situation involving Gamby, citing the possible legal action.
A joint investigation is underway following the death of a float plane operator near Red Lake. Yesterday, Red Lake OPP responded to a report regarding a male pilot who was seriously injured while attempting to bring his plane into the shoreline on DD Lake. Police say the man was standing outside the plane's cockpit on one of the floats as it approached land. When the aircraft reached the shore, he lost his balance and fell into the propeller. 67-year-old James Kowalski of St. Paul, Minnesota has been identified as the deceased. The Transport Safety Board of Canada is investigating the incident.
Thunder Bay Police have moved back their target date for setting up a zone policing system. The new strategy was planned to start this month. However, the rollout of the program is now expected to happen in the new year. Zone policing will see officers assigned to one of 6 specific areas across the city. Police spokesperson Julie Tilbury says the delay is because of changes required to make the system operate.
We have identified the geographical boundaries for each of the areas. We have just finished doing a computerized update on our mapping system, which is essential for our dispatching of the calls to the proper zones. So that is now in the phase of just being completed. We're currently just going to be completing all the rest of our policies and procedures that are necessary to make sure that the zone policing model works well for our service, that everybody understands what the needs of the program are, and that we're able to dispatch our officers in a priority sequence to the appropriate areas.
Tilbury adds police will have a better knowledge of the area they serve and better relate to the people living and working in those areas. The citizen-driven component will see people communicating with police through a secure website about problems in the areas. So far, Zone Watch volunteers have been trained, with 30 more signed up for the fall.
Provincial police have charged a 53-year-old Thunder Bay man after executing a search warrant in a Nipissing home. The search turned up 537 grams of marijuana, 31 Percocet pills, and more than $27,000 in cash. 2 other men are also expected to be charged in connection with the bust.
Children's centers across the Northwest received a large government grant today. The funding will enhance services at 5 centers in our region and offer more support services for children, along with autism services. One of the organizations receiving funding today is the George Jeffrey Children's Center. The organization received $138,000 going directly to services. That money is part of the $5 million that is being split between the 5 children programs across the Northwest. Another $1.5 million is being divided between the centers to provide a new integrated information system called CRISP that will create a uniform platform for all children's care service providers.
To better organize plans of care, specifically one plan of care for our clients. So it'll help our clinicians provide more cohesive care, and of course it will help towards providing speech pathology, occupational therapy, physiotherapy for the children.
As a minister and as a mom, everything that we do is really about ensuring that all our children, regardless of where they are or regardless of what their abilities are, that everyone has the opportunity to succeed. So in providing this type of funding and these enhancements really assist these children treatment centers in providing services to children and youth so that they can be the best that they can.
Jason says the George Jeffrey Center, as well as the other facilities across the Northwest, feel like their voices have finally been heard. All the organizations want to improve services, and they're happy that children's treatment centers and autism services are the focus of these grants.
Well, a little bit of rain and a lot of excitement filled the air at Lakehead University today. It was the culmination of 2013 Lakehead University orientation activities. A full slate of events was organized to help students prepare for their next 4 years on campus. Cheryl Holmes was there.
Well, the rain held off just long enough for students to head indoors and begin their activities. With morning speeches and an opening ceremony held outdoors, roughly 500 new students began their university career at the campus. Throughout the day, students were involved in a variety of activities and information sessions to start them on the path to success. The orientation session helps first-year students settle in.
University is a big transition for any student, whether they're coming from high school, another college or university, or we have some students who are coming from the world of work or raising a family. So it's a really nice transition for them to get used to their new community.
Students were divided into groups of 20 or so. Each group had 1 or 2 orientation leaders to show them the ropes. Each leader is an LU student who participated in orientation during their first year and wanted to provide the same great experience for new students.
I hope that they have a fun day today, and then that'll set the tone for their entire first year. And then maybe next year they'll want to help out with orientation and help new students too.
I'm just hoping to be able to meet preferably engineers, maybe I'll meet some engineers and we'll be able to hang out, do all that kind of stuff, but also other programs which I won't have the opportunity to hang out with as much, we'll be able to meet them there and just be able to talk and, you know, have some fun.
The orientation helps provide support for staff and students entering a new chapter in their education career. Festivities wrap up with Varsity Madness. Cheryl Holmes, TBT News.
The Oshkosh Education and Training Institute renewed their agreement with Cambrian College today at a special signing ceremony. The 5-year extension reflects their commitment to enhancing education and training opportunities for Aboriginal people. Executive Director Rosie Mosquito and Cambrian College President Peter Lawler signed the agreement. The partnership will provide Aboriginal people with skills training and education to improve themselves. He says the initiative allows Aboriginal people to progress to careers and do good things for their home communities.
Partnerships like these provide for economic growth within the region. We know that there will be growth in the future here in the region, and we need to make sure that we provide opportunities for skills training for our people here so that they can capitalize on those opportunities that are going to be here in the future when the economy starts to really grow here.
We're addressing the education gap that exists between First Nations people and mainstream within the communities, and we're also creating capacity within the communities, and we're also taking education to our people.
Since its inception 6 years ago, the partnership has produced 114 post-secondary graduates.
The annual Mayor's Mulligan Charity Golf Tournament got off to a wet start today, but once the rain tapered off, Mayor Keith Hobbs, along with more than 100 others, hit the links at Strathcona this morning. His worship duffed a couple, and he certainly wasn't shy about cashing in a mulligan when he did, but he also managed to sink a few nice putts along the way. Hobbs' team was one of 28 foursomes to compete in this year's tournament in support of Pro Kids Thunder Bay. The mayor calls it a great, fun event. He only wishes he was able to get out and work on his game a little bit more often leading up to today.
3 times this year, and I think once last year. It's the mayor's job doesn't leave you much time for golf, but it is great out here today and so many great people. We've raised a lot of money for Pro Kids over the years. You know, Mayor Peterson, God bless her, started this tournament, the Mayor's Mulligan, and when I became mayor, I picked it up because it's such a great cause.
This year's tournament was the 9th annual event to be held here in Thunder Bay.
A real-life superhero is running his way to Thunder Bay on his trip across Canada. Jamie McDonald once spent much of his childhood life in hospitals. The British man has decided to give back and raise money for Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto. Wearing a Flash superhero outfit and a cape, he will be arriving in Thunder Bay tomorrow. His trip has been captivating hearts and minds across the country, and so far he's raised over $18,000 for Sick Kids Hospital. He started in St. John's, Newfoundland over 5 months ago, and since then he's been running a marathon a day all by himself through all kinds of weather. He runs armed only with his trusty cart and superhero costume. Tomorrow, McDonald will be closing in on Thunder Bay with a rest point at the Terry Fox Memorial.
I've been thinking about it for 5.5 months, and it's Terry Fox. He's a huge inspiration for me, and if I ever get some tough days, then I think of Terry Fox. Tomorrow's going to be a huge day for me, and I hope that can provide the inspiration I need to finish the journey.
McDonald is expected to arrive at the Terry Fox Monument at 3 o'clock tomorrow. Donations can be made to the email address on his cape.
Well, one lucky 91.5 CKPR listener drove home in a brand new Kia last night. Sharon Hollowak was one of the 25 finalists to qualify for the radio station's Kia Key contest, and she picked the key that started up the new Kia Forte LX Plus, valued at more than $22,500. She says her mind went completely blank when her turn came to choose a key, with hopes it would be the one to start the car. Then, when it did,
I thought, is it actually happening? Is it actually happening? Yes, it's wonderful.
Somewhat surreal, I suppose?
Yes, very, yes.
It was a little bit of a shock because we didn't hear it start. It's so quiet.
Which is a good thing, right? It's very nice. It was very quiet, but once the lights went on, people just screamed, and she was so shocked,
Yep.
but it was great.
There's nothing like seeing the look on a winner's face when they win a prize like that. It was amazing.
Hollowak says there's no question about it, she will be keeping the vehicle.
Well, yesterday, Randy and Ryan had to work, but 12 other brave men took the stage last night in front of hundreds of women to compete for the title of Thunder Bay's Sexiest Man. Run like a Miss America pageant, the guys strutted their stuff on stage. The men were judged in 5 categories, including shirtless modeling, physical fitness, a dance-off, and of course, the dreaded interview question. Proceeds from the event support the underground gym, something the contestants said made their task a lot less daunting.
I was involved with a little bit with the underground gym. A couple times I, would teach a couple classes for him, and so I heard about this, and I heard that he was a little bit short on funding. So I'm like, oh hey, this can keep him going for a little bit. So I'm in.
They do so much in the community to help youth, inspire youth, and motivate them to be better people. So as soon as I heard the underground gym was the cause of tonight, I jumped all over it.
Guys are athletic and they love that, and they love the charity and the kids to begin with. So it was just a really good fit for the event and for the charity.
An audience vote and the votes of a celebrity panel of judges determined the winner, and in the end, Michael Nitz was crowned Thunder Bay's Sexiest Man Alive. You could see him there